Have you ever wondered how an adult actually became a people pleaser? Then I need you to sit down and watch today's video. Hi, ladies, how are you all doing? It's your girl Remy, and I am an unburdening and identity restoration specialist based in the United Kingdom. Today, I want to talk about how it is possible that you are raising a people pleaser. And I'll be giving some instances that we tend to do every other day, not because this is the aim, but it's just something we do. But I want to bring awareness to the adverse effects it can actually have in the life of your child when they become an adult. One of the examples I'm going to give is you have a situation where your child, you ask your child for a hug, for example, and your child says no. So you're saying something like, "Oh, can you give me a hug?" And the child says no. You're like, "Oh, so now you're not giving me a hug, but later you'll come to me asking for a hug." What you're doing in this moment is you're literally guilt tripping your child. And then what you'll find is your child will be like, "Oh, no, mommy," and come and give you a hug. Let me give you another scenario. So, for example, you've said to your child, "Come and rub my back." And your child is like, "Oh, no, mommy, I'm doing something. Can I come do it later?" And you're like, "Oh, don't worry. If you don't do it, I'm not going to buy you toys. Later, you keep asking me for toys, but just to rub my back, you can't rub my back." Again, what you're doing is guilt tripping that child and forgetting that as much as you're teaching your child to say no and stick to no, you are contradicting what you're teaching your child. Because, again, in this instance that I just gave, you'll find your child dropping what they're doing just to come and rub your back. Why? Because they actually do want that toy, and you've made them see that, well, you saying no to me is not going to work. You need to please me in order to get the things that you want. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, another thing or another pattern that I find is you start fake crying. Or you say to your child, do something, and your child says no. You're like, and your child is like, "Oh, no, mommy, don't cry. Okay, I will do it." Again, what you've done is you've made that child sway away from what they originally wanted to do to what you want them to do. Again, what you're doing is you're indirectly turning this child into a people pleaser, because now what that child is saying is, as much as mommy is saying no is a full statement, when I say no to mommy or daddy, it's not a full statement, because it means that the things that they originally said they were going to do for me, they are not going to do it because I wasn't willing to do a certain thing. Now I'm going to bring and explain further things, because in situations like this, we also have a situation where, for example, you will need to cajole that child into doing something, and you saying, "Okay, if you don't do this, I won't give you this." And I'm going to be giving you the difference between these things. So, for example, we all know that getting children to brush their teeth can be a chore. They don't want to brush their teeth. And you find that as parents, you have to say something like, "If you don't brush your teeth, you're not going to have breakfast. If you don't brush your teeth, you're not going to watch TV." Now, this scenario is totally different from the first one, because in this scenario, the reinforcement, okay, this is called positive reinforcement, which is literally where you are saying, "Listen, you need to do this positive thing," and you are reinforcing it. "Don't worry, I'm going to break it down." So you need them to do a positive thing, which is to brush their teeth, because brushing their teeth is actually to their advantage and not your advantage. In the first scenario, the positive thing was to your advantage and not their advantage. Do you understand it? So now, brushing their teeth, doing their chores, laying their bed, these simple things are things that in the future they will be grateful to you for, because you reinforced them having to do it. Now, in this case, this is not called bribing, this is called positive reinforcement. And a technique that I normally advise parents to use is what I call the first and then reinforcement. So the first is the positive. So you're saying, I need you to brush your teeth. I need you to do your chores. And the then is the reinforcement, which is if you don't brush your teeth, you're not having breakfast. If you don't brush your teeth, you're not watching TV. If you don't finish your chores, you're not playing with your games. So the first is you do this. The then is you get this. So they are totally different. It's important that as parents, we know the difference between getting our kids to do things that will literally benefit us or and help them to know the difference between doing things that will benefit them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't train your children to have empathy and do kind things for others, but what I'm saying is we need to be very careful so that in the place of getting them to do things for us, we're not pushing them unintentionally into becoming people pleasers, because this is something that is very common, because you find that the child just automatically believes that, well, in life, for me to actually get people to be my friend, for me to actually get into people's good books, I need to displease myself to get that done. And we don't want this happening. So, as parents, we need to pay attention to these things that I've shared today. And remember, there's a difference between the first side of things and the second side of things. Ensure that where you need to reinforce positivity, you're doing that. Where you need to respect your child's opinion and decisions, you're doing that. I really do hope that you've learned a thing or two from today's video. And if you did, please don't forget to share, leave a comment, and I'll see you at my next video. Bye-bye.